Hi, my name is Alex and I welcome you to today's video. Publisher Square Enix took a year to complete the Life is Strange series on the Nintendo Switch. With Life is Strange 2, all three games are now on the hybrid console. So welcome to our review of Life is Strange 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Life is Strange 2 is not a sequel to the story about Max, Chloe and the coastal town of Arcadia Bay. Instead, we follow 16-year-old Sean Diaz and his 9-year-old brother Daniel, who live with their father in Seattle. One day, however, a tragic incident occurs that drives the two boys to embark on a daring escape. Their goal is to reach Mexico, their father's homeland, where they believe they will be safe. This involuntary road trip means that we'll see our protagonists in different locations in each episode. Thus, varied game environments are provided. However, this narrative structure also leads to the fact that, apart from the two brothers, we can hardly build up a bond with the other characters. We only have something to do with most of the supporting characters in one episode. Even important characters like Sean and Daniel's mother only gain little profile. However, this only applies to the player. Since there are time jumps of several weeks or even months between the episodes, the brothers have had enough opportunity to build relationships with the people around them. For example, between the 4th and 5th episode, the protagonists immerse themselves in a dropout community where their mother also lives. As a player, you are then confronted with the fact that Sean and Daniel already have a close relationship with the people in the community, but they are foreign characters to the player. When the departure finally approaches after a short time, it is correspondingly difficult for us to feel the parting emotions that the brothers show at that moment. As is typical for the series and the genre, we have to make countless smaller and larger decisions during the course of the game. The main focus is on the role model function we have as Sean towards our little brother. However, since Sean is only 16 years old himself, the situations also often overwhelm him, which can lead to exciting and tough decisions. To make matters worse, Daniel has a supernatural ability that lets him move objects telekinetically. How do we deal with this as an older brother? Do we guide Daniel so that he understands the scope of his abilities and the consequences for his actions? How do we prevent this power from going to his head? Throughout the game, we repeatedly influence the development of Daniel's character. How we behave decides the outcome of the story at the end. Similar to the first season, we are faced with an all-decisive decision at the end, but the outcome depends on a moral upbringing of Daniel. There are a total of 7 different endings, 4 of which are fundamentally different from each other. This positive improvement compared to the first season is only marred by a rather obvious logic error at the end. In terms of gameplay, the game offers the usual mix of dialogues and exploring the individual locations. In the often generally laid out areas where we can move around freely, there are once again numerous objects that we can interact with. The developers put even more emphasis on variety and, above all, really interesting details that give us a deeper insight into the people and story around us. In addition, there is the use of Daniel's power, with which we can repeatedly move or influence objects. In action-packed scenes, his ability is also used to defend himself. Here again, often under time pressure, we have to decide how far we are willing to go. Should Daniel use his power to harm others? Overall, the potential of the supernatural element of Life is Strange 2 is not always exploited. We could have imagined a few tricky environmental puzzles. From a technical standpoint, it's a rock-solid port for Nintendo Switch. Most of the time the 30 frames per second are maintained and there are only very rare drops. Graphically, it is very similar to the Arcadia Bay collection and True Colors. Some sceneries look quite washed out and blurry when you play on the big screen. In handheld mode, however, the game is again convincing and can be quite impressive. After the conclusion of the story, it remains in any case the installment of the series that I was least enthusiastic about. But those are just personal feelings when characters and plots don't appeal to you. In any case, Life is Strange 2 is a well-done adventure game that tells a story about growing up, everyday problems and moral challenges focused on two brothers. Turning it into a road trip is an interesting idea but leads to the problems mentioned. For these reasons, I rate Life is Strange 2 for the Nintendo Switch a 7.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. If you liked it, we would be very happy about a like and a subscription. Or if you're interested in getting early access to our future reviews, feel free to visit our Patreon page.
On the ground!
Closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.